Right, thanks so much, guys. This matchup, the rematch of Rogue versus Neeb, it is so exciting. It's like the guy from Korea that is playing the best right now out of all the Korean players against the guy who beat him, the guy that's a three-time champion of the WCS circuit, the guy that won a tournament in Korea as a foreigner.
Jeez. You're giving me nerd chills right now.
God, it's just wild, Jeff.
It should be a good one, and this is today. This is the day where we're seeing all these players get eliminated. All of these players play these short best of threes for so much on the line. We talked about the prize money. We talked about the honor of going on. Like the upscaling of this, guys. We're playing in a closed studio here. We go to the big studio. We go to the big stage. All the audience. It's huge.
It is wild, man. So important as well. Let's introduce these players. In the top left, in the blue, the American Hope. It's Neeb.
And in the bottom right-hand side, wearing the red trunks from Korea, it's Rogue.
Pretty sure he's wearing blue jeans, but we'll go with it. What do you think?
Oh, my God.
Abyssal.
You don't know. You don't know.
I do know. I was looking at him before I walked over here.
He could have switched. And I said trunks, to be honest. We could have pulled those blue jeans right off and had red trunks underneath, man.
Okay. That would be a first, someone removing their pants before the match.
That would be a little weird.
He's like, look, I just want it to feel like it's home.
I like to play with my legs breathing. But no, just a normal actually hatch first getting scouted here. So when I say normal, I do mean it falls under the purview of like this is not crazy, but this is a economically aggressive. We've seen Neeb does like to open up gateway first, so why not? You're not going to get Forge cannon rush, which is actually kind of funny because one of the WCS this year he did actually cannon rush somebody because he's known as the one gate expander.
Well, in this game, he is playing. I like this type of play out of Neeb where he scouts quickly and takes a Nexus first because he knows, and he was talking about it before, that he can't really screw around at all against Rogue. Rogue, he considers to be the best PvZ player, or ZVP player rather, out there.
Yeah.
So he's getting his Nexus as absolutely as quickly as he possibly can. He said previously that he would just play his most practiced build, his best style against Rogue. Will we be seeing that again here today?
Yeah, I feel like that's. I loved what the guys on the couch were saying. I can't remember if it was Todd or Rotterdam. They're both just so charming, smart, and awesome.
They both sound the same
sometimes,
too.
Well,
with those
there's
European
a little bit
accents.
of that. All of Europe, it's weird how they have just a universal accent like that. But, anyways, for me, it's not time to mix things up. You get some information, you get some tendencies, so maybe there's going to be like little things you do differently, but in terms of like build order, composition you're aiming for, style, no. You don't go into BlizzCon and go, oh, he's doing that thing. Well, I'm going to break away from a month of PvZ training that I've been doing. The nice thing that is going for Neeb is that he did come into this with numerous builds. It's not uncommon to see a Protoss have like one, maybe two, and then something that they have done in the past and could do again, but Neeb's actually a pretty multi-dimensional threat.
Yeah, it is quite true that he has like a huge range to his play. He gets pretty creative against quote-unquote lesser Zergs, but against Rogue, he's played a pretty solid style, and it did bring him to victory previously. And I mean, just looking at the map that we're on, Abyssal, this gives us some of the craziest late games in PvZ. So, I mean, I would love to see another game like we saw in Mech Depot.
And it's a good Protoss map, too. And I don't say that it's like it's a 75% win percentage Protoss map, but I just mean the third is fairly defensible. There is a fourth. There's even a fifth in your kind of area. And while that still benefits Zerg, and it's not bad for Zerg, it just doesn't have any elements that I feel like, you know, are a thorn in the side of the Protoss. So he's going to be very comfortable here to start off this best of three. He's going to want to. He's been sitting. He came in today facing Su, who by a lot of people would probably consider the lesser Zerg to Rogue.
Yeah.
And yet Su was able to kind of put him down pretty hard. A timing attack and then a fantastic game number two. And all of a sudden, Neeb's like, wait a second. What's going on here?
Well, you know, I think that Neeb might have been psychologically thrown off a little bit from that series, especially considering, you know, the moment that he went backstage and thought about it, maybe reviewed the VODs or talked to some friends that were watching. He would have found out that that hatchery was actually his in the third game. It was a bluff with the Queens. If you guys missed that, basically Su was being attacked by DTs, had no detection on the way, and bluffed the DTs back in the prism away. So it was pretty wildly awesome by Su, but you know that's more of Su's style anyway. He is a somewhat aggressive Zerg, whereas Rogue, this guy is a macro fiend.
Kind of play the back foot, play passive, and just see what's going on here. So now as this game shapes up, it is going to be just that from Rogue so far. I believe he had Speed Overlord, am I mistaken? Or
Yeah, he got Overlord speed, and now he's making a Drop Lords and 3 more Queens. So he's definitely going to be going for a Queen drop now, which is really cool. Oh, another Drop Lord.
Yeah, so a couple of them here. We did see from Dark, actually, just that one with the 4 Queens in it, just like that. And then a lot of Ling support behind it. So you are going to see the Ling support, but that second Drop Lord is interesting. And the Void Ray is a little bit out on the map here, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Neeb is seeing like the really mega telltale signs yet that this is coming. But if you look at the production tab, he's just adding more Stargates.
Oh boy, he's actually going to be in some trouble here. And the thing is, you're very right. This is kind of a Protoss map. You should feel very comfortable going air toss here. But he is super unready for this push.
Yep, Ling's making their way up into the main base here. They're going to sneak all along the perimeter there. There's some Lings parked on the left side of the map as well, kind of poised. And here comes the Queen drop at that natural. And they will get in there, and you can see the Warpin is not really super amazing, just a couple of Adepts, but that actually even buys the Warpin away from the main base. And here's the Mothership Core. Should be able to defend this third with a Photon Overcharge, but what's going to save the main?
Oh man, just harassment everywhere right now from Rogue. The 4 Queens coming back down. Probes having to fight. It looks like the Overcharge will push some Lings back, but a ton of probes dying. 30 probes already going down, and Rogue taking a massive lead with this attack.
He's losing in the main base as well. His supply is plummeting. 38 probes so far. And this just seems to be kind of a weak spot in Neeb's build order. If you attack at this time, it's going to be rough. Inside the main, even some damage there. If you focus on that pylon, it could be worse, but maybe this game just ends. The third Nexus died in the background here as well.
There's almost nothing left right now for Neeb, losing 41 probes. He doesn't have too much of a shot. Can't even kill these Queens. The Stargate's going to become unpowered. GG.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
And Neeb had the Oracle out there. He had a Void Ray. He was kind of feeling it out. He did not see this coming. It was a little bit of a different iteration from what we saw in the past. The Lings in the main had nothing to defend against them. You just had to pull the probes from there. But even then, the Photon Overcharge was a little bit late at the third, but even maybe if it was on time, it just felt like there was too many Lings there. And all of a sudden, this once again is proving to work against Neeb. So we talked about this, Artosis. Now is not the time to change things up. Well, if you've got this big of a weakness that's being exploited mid-best of 3, all of a sudden you have to. There's not even a choice.
Yeah, you're quite right about this. He was caught so off guard by this. It didn't get the correct scouting done. He was trying to be as greedy as possible. You can see his hand on his head in his hand, just upset with himself over this loss. And now he's lost to 3 aggressively position Zerg plays in a row, and this is not the way that Neeb likes to go about this matchup.
No, like we talked about, he wants to push to the late game, but you know, it's really cool. We talked about this, and Rogue, his tendency is for the game to also go to the late game, but he was witnessing, I mean, the nice thing about that Queen drop is you're not investing that much per se, and if you're facing a Stargate opening, you're almost guaranteed to do some form of some kind of damage without an overall like gigantic commitment to it. Because it is just the Queens, a couple of drop Overlords, and some Lings. Now, if you make like a million Lings, then yes, it does become a pretty big all-in, but you're going to get some damage in. That third's fairly exposed, Queens at the natural, they're going to have some form of a fight there. They're not just going to get nuked. So it's a pretty safe investment towards really hurting the openings that some of these Protoss players are going for.
Yeah, and you know what? With all the flying units kind of across the map and how much he was skimping on the gateway units, what did he have, like 2 gateways?
Only 2.
Yeah, so that's just really not enough to hold on against such a early aggression. And Rogue was really quite brilliant with where he even made the drop lords.
Yes.
Very random spots kind of in the middle that you never see. You skirt the edges of the map with the Void Ray, with the Oracles, the normal spots, and he avoided those. So a very well planned out victory here by our Zerg player.
I loved it, Dan. I mean, just to kind of put a little cap on your point, but if he goes for the third with everything, then Photon Overcharges, Warpins, and the air units, maybe there is a defense there, but by spreading it out, absolutely stunning. So here we are in game number 2. In the top right-hand side in the blue, it's Neeb. Breathe deep.
Yeah, you see he's kind of shaking there. In the bottom left, winning game number 1, it's Rogue.
Calm as a cucumber. Why are cucumbers calm? Or are they cool?
Well, they're cool, which could translate into calm, kind of.
I like it.
It definitely started as cool.
And to be fair, we don't know if they're calm or not, you know? So it's better to assume they're calm as opposed to like label them something like anxious or something.
Hey, look, as the British say, keep calm and cucumber on.
Yeah, that's exactly one. They're so smart, those Brits. It's a shame about them Brexiting. In the top right-hand side, this map, by the way, Acolyte, a big macro map. So maybe this is the wind in the sails for Neeb, where if he can slow this down, normalize it a little bit, it's going to be fairly comfortable. Now, again, it's kind of weird because it's not like Rogue is like panicking to end the game before it gets there. We saw an amazing hour-long Rogue versus Neeb PvZ, and really it ended kind of strangely, but it wasn't like Rogue was just dying the entire time. He was right up there with him.
Certainly not. I mean, it was kind of back and forth, and the series overall was very close. So as long as Neeb can keep his cool and play his game, this is still very doable for him.
Keep his cucumber.
It's the most important thing right there. He doesn't want it to turn into a pickle quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Not before midnight, at least.
We have to. There's going to be some people having some fits. Otherwise, a fairly standard opening from Rogue, which is interesting because you can go 3-hatch here. You definitely can, but what I like about mining the gas here, and I'll tell you this from the Protoss perspective, when you see a Zerg mining gas, the possibilities of what you're facing are quite long and quite varied.
Yeah.
Whereas if you see a gasless anything, be it 3-hatch or whatever opening from the Zerg, it limits it down to a very small couple of things, and it simplifies the game. So keep the game weird. Let Neeb overthink it potentially. Let him freak out and be like, well, if I can't do my triple Stargate thing, then I'm going to, I don't know, Adept all in. And put the pressure on him. You got a game to give, says Rogue. You know,
absolutely.
Let him think about it.
And I'd love to see him, you know, just get that Overlord speed very quickly. Maybe pick up Zergling speed, but he actually
gets. That's a
layer.
freaking layer. I'm going to stop you right there.
That's a very quick layer at 24 workers.
This is Nidus.
It definitely could be a Nidus Swarm play. And the thing is that on this map in particular, there's a few different ways you can play Nidus. You can go complete all-in, which is what this is looking like, but there's also kind of macro-ish Nidus plays where you can utilize Swarm Hosts.
Not that one. That's a pumpkin.
No,
that's a cucumber.
Now,
this Adept needs to get in there. And in the past, by the way, Neeb has canceled this. He doesn't like losing this Adept. It has to scout. Whoa, and then this time he scouts it, but it gets surrounded.
Oh, that micro by Rogue!
Right, it's going to get in there and see the third, actually. Can it live at? Well, it's going towards the natural, so I don't think it sees the lair. It does not see the lair, correct?
No, he saw the lair morphing.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Look at that.
Huge scout. Guys, I've been telling you, in a lot of the games, in fact, you guys can track this for me. I think only one of the games he let the Adept finish of his PvZ so far, this is the second time that's happened. And it could not have come at a more critical time. He's adding the gateways. He's going to start making some units, and this is going to be a big deal.
Okay, so Neeb, you know, scouting it this early, I think he basically knows what's going on. What could this really be this early on? You don't even have the economy for Hydra at this point.
Oh, you
right?
have to think Nidus. On this map, on Acolyte in particular, it's Nidus. I mean, maybe some other maps could be some weird stuff. Now, smartly here, Rogue is going to switch out of it. That wasn't the plan, though. It was going to be Nidus, but he's switching out of it. What is this, though?
Okay,
Why?
no, well, this is Swarm Host play. Rogue is a fantastic Swarm Host player, and this map, again, in particular, is fantastic for Swarm Hosts. That back natural, you cannot defend. You can put some Swarm Hosts over there, hit the natural that he took. This, you cannot defend against Swarm Hosts. It just becomes so annoying.
A little bit of a scary investment, though, especially against a Stargate opening, because the way you would defend against it would be to just kind of track them down. And there is... Yeah. What? The Nidus anyways?
Nidus Swarm Host, I think, man.
All right. Off a 2-base.
I love it. I love it. Like, the thing is, he has enough queens as well. He can pop out, make sure that the Void Rays and Oracles aren't killing the Nidus exit, and he can just move back and forth. This is something that is very rare, but occasionally in Korea we'll see on Acolyte. And will Neeb be prepared? I mean,
well, the Oracle just tagged the main, I believe. I believe he just scouted that. Yep.
Okay, he sees... I think he has a very good idea. Obviously, he'll hear this Nidus opening in just a moment.
Yeah, you'd feel like the Zerg would pipe that down a little bit. Like, evolutionarily speaking-wise, the Nidus Worm screams so loud that the entire map hears it when it gets out. It's like, I would have had a chat with the Overmind or Kerrigan, whoever's...
Dahaka's got to get on top of that, man. Or Abathur, maybe.
It's Abathur, actually. He's the engineer feller.
I just name all the different Zerg characters. We did. Kerrigan needs to get on top of this.
Is that the Garmbrood Cerebrate? I think it might have been that one. So this is not enough damage to kill the Nexus. You just pull back the probes. Obviously, damage will be incurred here, and that's unfortunate. But there's that double Nidus opening.
Yeah. Now, the thing about this is not that that's game-ending damage right there. It's that over time, if you can't deal with this efficiently, it just whittles you down.
It's a problem. Now the thing that Neeb has going for him is it is just 2-base Zerg. So if he can get on top of this somehow and start to kind of whittle down one side or the other, like kill the other Nidus Worm when they're over here on the right, something along those lines, a counterattack maybe, then any damage to Rogue is like game-ending. Whereas a couple of these waves, they're painful, but like you said, it's over time that the real damage comes in.
Well, here comes a gigantic wave of Locusts for this early in the game. Surrounding the Stalker, going to be able to kill off a few units here. Maybe put a lot of damage on that Nexus. I believe the Nexus will just barely live here.
No.
Oh, wow. Never mind.
I totally knew the whole time.
Pretty brutal.
I was going to wait to make sure. Oh, and this is nice. He actually
Okay.
gets it, and he can chase these down. They're going to be off creep here, so well, actually, I don't know if it affects their speed, but getting that Night Swarm was a big deal, and getting a couple of these Swarm hosts is going to be huge.
Yeah, killing those off is very, very nice. And he has his glaives finishing, right? So we might be able to see Neeb put on a little bit of counter damage. But let's not forget, Rogue is sitting here on 2 bases only still. So, like, even though Neeb could start to get aggressive, is he going to be able to break a Zerg that has so little they need to defend?
Yeah. And he's holding on for right now, and it is Rogue with that supply advantage, even, again, just off these 2 bases. But these waves are dropping Nexuses, and you see Neeb each time trying to hold and kind of buy some time, but that's like treading water. The 2 targets are being added behind this. He's going to have to cancel that if it's getting focused.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's you know, I think a lot of people probably watching this right now are thinking, oh man, Rogue is just killing Neeb. But let's not forget, it's actually 2 base versus 2 base, and the Stormhosts, even though they are gaining value, Neeb actually has a decent amount of tech.
Yeah.
He just added some Stargates. He has a good amount of Oracles. There aren't real counters to some of these things that Neeb is doing. He's just playing defensively for now.
Yeah, and actually a wave came in a little bit too early there. 1 Photon Overcharge was able to kind of endure there for a little bit longer. Now, what's Neeb going to do? He's added the Stargates, so he's just going to keep going up with Oracles, which is nice because they actually do a lot of damage really quickly to those the Locusts themselves. And he picks off the Night Swarm over here on the right side again. So these can keep getting remade, but it slows it down. It makes it cost a little bit more.
And 16 probes die. That is definitely a little bit rough. He still, again, has more workers than Rogue, so we don't have to just count him out at this point quite yet. But this is rough. He continually is turning on these Oracles. He's very low energy on them, even though this is like a very valuable amount of Oracles, because he needs to try to persevere against this harass.
And some drones are dying in the background, by the way. Those Oracles, or those Adepts, excuse me, are inside that main base, lower left-hand side here. Getting some work done, and now we see some Roaches starting to come out, so this army is evolving for a Zerg player, but the Adepts can be pretty annoying. The mobility of those Roaches, not the best, but now some pretty serious damage coming in, Artosis.
Yeah, this is getting very serious indeed. Taking down the Cybernetics core, he's killing units, he's killing workers. There are drones dying in the meantime, so...
This is not looking good for Neeb, though, I gotta tell you. He's falling behind workers right now. And I think what Rogue did, which I really like, is he made the game kind of weird. I'm not liking a lot of Neeb's responses here, and they feel like kind of improv responses, which I don't blame him for. How often do you face this scenario? But
no.
I'm not. You know, he's like standing there fighting the Locust. He's not really developing a plan to stop that from happening. So just over time, the damage has started to kind of redouble on itself. And here come the Oracles to perhaps strike back for the first time, but there's so many Queens.
One
not
being
here.
picked off immediately. The
That's
Locust,
dead Nexus.
They continue to deal huge amounts of damage right now. Kind of a surprising warping right there. Losing some extra units. Another wave coming into the back natural.
I think he's just kind of coming to grips with this. The gold base, sure, okay, but
oh man,
natural's
Rogue's
gone.
seeing that immediately too.
Tech being depleted. This is a dead Neeb, guys. You just kind of come to grips with that.
You know, his last chance, Neeb's last chance here, is the fact that he has a big clutch of Oracles, and there's not a real counter, but the Spire is just about done,
well,
and that's about as good a counter as you can get against Mass Oracle.
The Spire's about to finish. There is enough Queens to at least repel them from the bases down there. The creep spread's been getting out of hand. There's no real answer for that anytime soon. He doesn't have the money for an Observer, and revealing is expensive. So now here come these Roaches, and everything's low energy. He does have a few Photon Overcharges. They, of course, can... And
oh, my God. The amount of Locusts coming in right now. The Oracles better be killing everything on the other side of the map.
They're not.
No, they're turning around. They're not even that high on energy. Rogue looking for a killing blow here on Neeb.
And Rogue crafted a beautiful strategy here. It seemed so strange off a 2-base low econ, but it just has thrown Neeb for a loop. And now some Roaches doing their just kind of thing. They're going to trade out here. But the supply is the telltale story here for Rogue. He's up 73 some odd supply. and he's just punishing Neeb with every wave of these locusts.
And those corruptors coming in, like he can actually start killing nexuses with those. There's almost 0 anti-air. This is like an Oracle-only army. Neeb knows that it has weaknesses, but he needs to pack the most powerful punch he can to try to win this game.
He might actually, once the corruptors show up, he might even, that might be the final blow. He'll play it out, I guess, but there is no answer for him. He cannot switch to Voiders right now. That's very expensive. He can't add Stalkers. That doesn't do anything in this game.
No.
His options are literally just like defensively. No, that's it. GG's.